Today's day 5 of working on TMNT tasks. We finished the US task yesterday. It ended up being a 1625. Now I'm going to attempt to apply those same inputs to the Japanese version. So what I did is I opened the backup of the US version and pulled the inputs file and then applied those inputs to the Japanese version. And now we will I didn't. The task beat Skunky. But we know a 16.2x is possible. So that's what I think 16.2x will be like, all right, we're good. It's both, Sestrin. It's like I injured my thumb, so this is one way to work on TMNT, but this all started because even before I injured my thumb, somebody in the TMNT Discord had asked about the differences between the Japanese and the US versions. And I know there was some research done a while, like 4 years ago or so, but as far as I can tell, they only tested they checked the cutscene lengths. And it had me curious, so I was like, all right, before I knew that they had tested the cutscene lengths, I had started to look into it myself, and I did 2 playthroughs, one on each version. And then as I was comparing the two, I noticed that there were frame variances, not just in cutscenes. There were frame variances in like door entrances, door exits, ladders. Like long ladders sometimes would be faster on one version or the other. I noticed differences in the overworld. And so then it had me thinking, like, is this a programmable difference, or is it because I am incapable of playing the game exactly the same twice in a row? So that led me to feel like the only way that I would know for sure is if I were to do a task of each of them and created the same inputs for both. And so then I injured my thumb, and I'm like, I guess this is like this perfect opportunity to sit down and actually do this. And then we'll know definitively which is faster. At the time, like 4 years ago or whatever, when they checked the whatchamadingawatts, they checked the cutscene lengths. The Japanese version ended up being 18 frames faster. So faster, but like nobody's that good at this game yet that they're like, oh, I need to get those 18 frames. Oh, nice Turtle Wax. So I did take the inputs from the first task I did and put them in the Japanese version now. And now today we're going to try to sync those, and hopefully we can get them to match up, because the fear that I have now are like, I'll probably have some variances, and I guess the biggest thing is that I really just want to test ladders and doors. But if there's movement variances, then that's going to change the outcome, I think. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. Let's run this. So this is with no changes. Now I do know one change needs to be made. And that's as far as I got. But if I start this with no changes, that start press right there gives me a whole 3. I can tell because I have this RAM watch here. Techno home value 4 means that the Technodrome is in hole 3. So already there's a difference. And I already did this part. So I found out that the start press, so I'm holding select here, the start press is 1 frame later. So now this value should say 2. Boom. Value is 2. So knowing that that is 1 frame later, yeah, the title has furigana. That is very cool. Furigana makes life so much easier, even though my Japanese is still terrible, but yeah, you can see Geki ka me ni n ja ja den. Geki ka me ninja den. Very cool. But yeah, congrats, Turtle. Level 6 boss rush was even worse. I bet I could deathless. Ooh, you gonna do it? Yeah, the kanji is impossible to read. So I had this crazy idea. I've been wanting to get back into Japanese. I feel like it goes in waves, but oh my gosh, timeout. I was just thinking a thing that isn't related to this. I gotta check this. But yeah, I wanted to play some like Super Nintendo RPGs and stuff in Japanese. Okay, so I hit the car. Okay, I was curious. Okay, so if I just let this play. It technically works to here. That's already a difference. See, I bonked. For somehow my subpixels are different here. There's a bonk. And there's not a bonk in the other one. Because I would have corrected that. I'm also curious in these like empty frames. I wonder, let's see, lag frame counter. So there's already 36 lag frames here. I didn't have the lag frame counter on the other play. I probably should. Probably should go back and do that. Now, knowing that we had to press start 1 frame later, it's a later frame, and we move that forward 1. Can we insert a frame here? Just insert a single frame? Like, what happens then? I get run over. So even though the start press was a frame later, the inputs so technically the game starts a frame earlier. Well, I guess it lines up, right? You have to press start 1 frame later, but the game technically, once you can control your turtle, it's the same. It like lines up even. Which is why all this works perfectly. What I'm curious about is now on ladders, right? So if there is a difference between, like, let's say there's a 1 frame variance in a entrance to an area. Oh, nice. Going through Stardew Valley in Japanese to try to study. That's a really good one. That's a good idea. I have Stardew. I haven't opened it. I got it because it was really cheap at the time. Japanese is hard though. 日本語がとっても難しいです。Something like that. わからない。You might attempt the Deathless is one of those games like Gradius. Oh, yeah. So it's like shmup mechanics. Get powerful, don't die. Oh, not a good game for quick points, but it is a good game. Super Princess Peach is so good. Excuse me. 81 points. You got this. To get your 420. I thought I was going to sneeze. Sorry. So I'm curious. So ですね。はい、そうです。はい、そうです。So I'm curious here. Like right now, what if I remove one down input? Oh no, I'm not there. What if I remove one down input from the ladder? Can I still get off the ladder? Where are we right now? We went right. So remove one, we'll add one right input and add one down input. So I still get off the ladder. So technically, I have the ability to exit the ladder at least one frame earlier. What about 2? Can I get 2 frames? No, 1 frame. So we press start 1 frame later, but we can get off the ladder 1 frame earlier. Huh. What happens to the inputs if I do that? And do I bonk if I do that? Do I have to adjust all my inputs by 1 frame? I still bonk though. So then it has me thinking, like, are subpixels different? Are they treated differently in this version? Ooh, there's a left-right input. That's a lie. Remove that. Still bonk. So if I got off the ladder 1 frame earlier, do I swing 1 frame earlier? Do I adjust everything by 1 frame? There's to the tiny jump, right? I still bonk though. Where the hell's my cursor? Sorry, I'm gonna nerd out on this, FYI. just a little FYI. So there's a dead frame there. You know what I hate? I kind of want to have both open. Is that possible? How far into this do I want to go? That's the scary thing. Like, how far down the rabbit hole do I want to go? This is a little insight into my brain and how it works for when I do research for the console gaming history episodes. This will give you a little insight to the way my brain works. When I find out something new and I'm like, well, what does that mean? So this person had this idea in this year and this person had it in this year. Did those people ever meet? Is there a potential they ever met? Where did they first work? Where did they live? Did they ever cross paths? Were they at this convention? And it's like, this is my brain off drugs. Any questions? Yeah, Turtle Wax. I do love this game. I just, can you have 2 instances of BizHawk running at the same time? Let's save this real quick, just in case something happens. So that was me adjusting everything, including the tiny jump, right? Oh no, I didn't adjust the start press. I adjusted these, right? I adjusted to here. So this still needs to be 1 frame sooner. That needs to be 1 frame sooner. We'll remove 1. Yeah, you know what's crazy? I deleted Kick from the like multi-stream thing, and it still started streaming to Kick. It's crazy. Let's move everything to that tiny hop 1 frame. Including the turtle switch. Oh, wait, that's the tiny hop, right? That's it there, I think. Alley Cat, welcome in. No, I still bonk. The thumb, I think, is on the mend. Like, I think I'm going toward the better side of thumb hate. Now I'm like, did I move everything one frame? This is the welcome to the madness. All right, yeah. What is this? Oh, that's my start press. So this all works. How you doing today, Alley Cat? Yeah, the kick thing, I honestly at this point I don't understand why it's connecting to kick. I literally deleted it from the thing. But I wonder, I have two. Maybe that's why. I'm going to stop kick over here and delete it. All right, so I deleted that. Hopefully Monday, no kick. But yeah, thank you for asking about the thumb. The thumb is still hurt. It's definitely not 100%, but I feel like it's going in the right direction, if that makes sense. Yeah, thank you, Alley Cat. I appreciate it. Appreciate you. So just to double check, this input doesn't get me off the ladder. Okay. This does. I'm trying to figure out where do I have to remove So it seems pretty early for that. But it hits him, so but I don't know. Okay, this is what I'm curious about at this point. That is my frame of turtle swap. Now to test if I can open 2 instances of BizHawk. Let's see, where is BizHawk? I know I could do 2 different versions, but I don't think that's what I want to do. Can I open 2 instances? I can. Oh dear Lord. This is frightening. It's the only way though. It's the only way to check. So, this is crazy, but we're going to open this. We're going to open the TAS studio here. I wish y'all could see both monitors, but I feel like that would be a lot. Open. Just know that I'm doing these things. Open. I need to open the TAS improvements file. Okay, so there's my TAS improvements. So for this one, my start press, I start holding select at Oh, what if I just changed my select hold? Because right here, no, I start holding select on the same. It looks the same from the select. The select holds are the same distance. They both stop being held on the 98th frame. But the US version start press is frame 223 for a hole 2. And the Japanese start press for a hole, for a hole 1, the Japanese start press is frame 224. The first frame I start holding down on the US version is 413. Here I start holding down on 413 as well. So this like is the same. 413, they end up aligning both at 413 for the inputs. Let's see. Oh my gosh, this is kind of making me feel insane, but Twitch is really bad. Oh no, on all channels. Dude, Reef, that's doo-doo. Is anybody else having a problem with Twitch? You know, I can't tell you that there's another way to watch the stream, but there might be. You might be able to watch the stream somewhere else and not deal with that bologna sauce. All right, so I want to see what frame I enter the hole. All right, so the US version, the first frame of hole entrance is 896. Let's go to frame 896 on here and see if that's the same. 896 is this. So with the same exact inputs, the Japanese version enters the hole. The inputs start on the same frame, but the Japanese version gets to the hole 1 frame faster. And I speculate this has 21 frames of lag by the time you get to the hole. Let's see. Yes, there is 1 more frame of lag in the US version between gaining control of your turtle to getting to the hole. There's 1 frame lost in the overworld in the US version that doesn't happen on the Japanese version. Ray, welcome in. Thank you for the lurk. Thank you for the work, lurk. I appreciate it. 887. The lag frames are different. They're in different so you can see these red lines. These red lines are the lag frames here. They don't hit. This is the first lag frame here. For whatever reason, is it like a load seam? No. I'm not sure. 699. Frame 699 is the first frame of lag on the Japanese version, but the US version's first frame of lag is 700. So the Japanese version, you press start later, but then you incur lag 1 frame earlier. Interesting. So then 717 is the next frame. The lag frame in the US is 717, 716 on Japanese, 734 on US, 733 on Japanese, 751 on US, 750. I'm trying to find the frame that doesn't happen. 768, 767, 785, 784. Those align still. They're just 1 off. 802, 801. Yep. 819, 818. This feels like madness. Do I do this for the whole game? I don't know. 836, 835, 853, 52, 870, and 69. Hey, nice. 887, in 886. So there's the same amount of frames of lag. But the US version doesn't enter the hole until 896. And the Japanese version enters it at 895. Huh. So then once we're in the hole, the first frame we can get off of the ladder in the Japanese version is 951. This is the first ladder input, because if I try to do 950, you don't get off the ladder at all. So 951, 951, I can get off that ladder. Right? And then I attack on 959. In the US version, the soonest you can get off the ladder is 952. It takes one frame later because you've got into the hole. So the transition is the same. The amount of time between transitioning is the same. This whole time I thought I was losing frames in the transition between entering holes. It actually looks like you're losing frames in overworld and the transitions might be equal. I mean, this is just the first entrance, so I don't know. This is a speculation at this point. But it would make sense why I noticed that ladders were faster on the Japanese version. Maybe there's less overall lag frames throughout gameplay. I don't know. We're going to find out. So you get off the ladder at 952 and attack at 960. Japanese version, we attack at 959. Dang. Oh my gosh. Oh, the YouTube thing can be fixed. That actually notified me. Thank you for punching the TV session. Sorry, y'all, for the nerding out. This is what we're doing, though. I may try to play TMNT on Monday. We'll see. See how my thumb is feeling by then. Keep resting it up. Okay. Focus, focus, focus. So 951, I start holding there. 952. I'm just trying to adjust everything by one frame. Make sure 988. So this should be 987 for the down input. And ends at 995, 996. Yes. So B, these align. Good, good, good. Keep going. My A input is 0106. So this would be 0105. That's for this hop here. Interesting. Wait, maybe. No, that's the same. Okay. So these appear the same. The other thing I'm curious about, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Anyways, my brain. Okay. So the next input would be 1061. I start holding down and holding A. 1061. Japanese version 1060. The sprites are in the same exact position. Granted, the Japanese version is one frame ahead. So then the B button, our attack aligns. You walk off and start pressing down at 1171, frame 1171. US version, start pressing down at 1172. There is that illegal left input in this one too. Funny. So 1183 is the B press. 1182. All right. This is all still keeping track with the one frame ahead. So then the jump here occurs at 1226. So this jump is at 1225. That makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4 is the last frame there. 1, 2, 3, 5 is the last frame there. Okay. Does our jump frames look the same? The Mouser sprites are different on the two. The turtle's foot position is different as well. It makes me curious. Can I? What is the benefit here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get a 5-frame jump on the US version. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get a 6-frame jump. So jumping on the same frame in the Japanese version gives me a 6-frame jump. What if I adjust it to the 1226 and make it jump on the same frame? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That aligns their jumps. If they press jump at the same frame. So the lag frames right now in the same spot, right? We haven't done anything else, but in the same spot, aligning the inputs. The Japanese version is 4 frames ahead based off of lag. I think for some reason so far, now granted, we're only 1,000 frames in, but so far, the Japanese version might have less lag frames. Do I start running on the Japanese version? That's the Okay, sorry, it's too early to tell. Oh my dear lordy. All right, focus, hocus pocus. So I am curious. So that gives me the 5-frame jump, which means our animation, boom, should be the same. And it is. You know what I could do? All right, y'all. We're going to make this extra crazy. So this, I think I'm going to try to stack these so you can see everything at once. Like the Lion King, be prepared. I need the playback buttons. Yeah, I don't want to go too much there. Okay. View, window size. Maybe 4x. View, window size, 4x. Okay. So here we have, we could go a little bit bigger. View, window size, 5x. View, window size, 5x. Too big. Unless I did this, but I need to be able to see the inputs for both. So yeah, we're going to have to go 4x. 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 Okay. So, I think what we're going to do, move this over. Let me get the US inputs in here. We are nerding out, y'all. Welcome. All right, so we got the US on the right, Japanese on the left, US on the bottom. So there's that. Oh no, where's my RAM watch? All right, here's our RAM watch for the Japanese version. So I don't need the addresses. So I guess I could do that. And then I need the RAM watch for the US version. I'm gonna have to set this up every time for stream for start a stream, but it's worth it. More nerdy Windows. Truden. Okay. I don't know if you're just getting here, but yeah, I'm going down the rabbit hole at this point. Oh my gosh. RAM watch for the US version. Let's get that. So this will be the RAM watch for the US version. Boom. We got to get all the data, all right? Data. So at this point, I don't know why changes is not there, but Technodrome's hole 2 on both, well, hole 1 on both. Global timers are different. So the Japanese version is on a 176 global timer. If I change that to 176, I'm curious if... Okay, if I change that to 176, do I incur the same amount of lag frames? Up to this point. Play. Oh, I can't control that. So, yeah, and that's the thing so far, but I don't know if the global timer... We're gonna get to this jump input. So, look at on the... Right, this is the same frame, 1231. We'll go to 1231, we're on the same frame. The turtles are, so 1230, we press jump, right? 1230, we press jump. See the turtles are standing flat. Look at the sprites. I don't understand it. I don't know if that's global timer or what, but I go to hop and I go to hop. The US global timer is at a 172. Everything else aligns except for the randomized number. Randomized numbers and the global timer numbers are different. There were also less changes in the Technodrome home location. Is it easier? No, there were more changes. Is it harder to get the whole one in Japanese version? So at this point, there are 4 less lag frames, but I don't know. What I don't know is, let's go to power on real quick and start this, right? We go nothing. Okay. So that's their like reset state. Get to there, reset state. So there's no, so the global timer values are starting on the same frame. But when I hit start, it forces different global timers. So the global timers, I wonder if there's a start press that has the same global timer, or can I sync these? So I'm going to put the global timer for the Japanese version to match the US version, but it wouldn't happen. It would never happen. So I'm torn, right? This is where my brain is at right now. I'm trying to decide if I change the global timers. I guess we could see it as a test. If I change the global timers, I need to remember that the Japanese version was 218. Or the US version was 217, right? Because it presses start 1 frame later, it should be... Wait, That doesn't make sense. Did I change them? Okay, let me find out for real, because I can't edit them and then we gotta run it again. Okay, so there's a start press here. Global timer is 217. On this one, the global timer is 218. Okay, Japanese version is 218. Yeah, the Japanese version is Konami because they didn't have to deal with the Konami US baloney. We're like, Nintendo of America was the problem specifically. Nintendo of America were the people who were like, you can only make 5 games a year. It wasn't like a Nintendo Universal thing, is my understanding. So the Japanese version just got to be Konami. Okay, so for science, right? We have 6 frames of lag for both. I'm going to change the US version's global timer to match the Japanese version and see if they get the same amount of lag frames to that same point. Oh. Because of the... Who died? The US version died. Because now my... Huh. All I did was change the global timer. And I didn't go left far enough, I think. Who died? Am I tripping? I think I'm tripping. I'm not sure, Truden. I don't think we've... I don't know that anybody knows. We're going to try to find out, though. So frame 1226. What I'm wondering is if it changes the amount of lag frames you incur. So, changing the value of the global timer to that point actually didn't end how I thought it was, or how I thought it would. We ended up on drastically different global timers by this point. So that put the US global timer at 167 when the Japanese global timer is at 171. I think they don't run the same. When did they get off though? That's the real question. Cuz I changed it at start press, right? So at start press we should be on the same global. No, it didn't keep the value. 1920. 1920. Let's see, like, when does it get off? I'm going to go to this lag frame and see if they're on the same global. 359. The lag frame occurs at a different time. 358. And by now, because of this lag frame, you would think that would sync them. Okay, but they're already off now. 95. Do the global timers function differently? When did we lose it? Ring ring, how you doing? Buenos dias, hermano. So frame 2262. So here the global timers are both at 0. But there have been less changes to the global timer. What? So we're on the same frame, right? 267. They're both synced up. Still synced. When does it get off? Let's go to that frame. Like, when did they fall out of sync? '82, '82. '95, '96. They're both 96 at 358. 97. 97. Oh, look at that. $360. Oh, look at this is when they fall out of sync. When I've synced them. So the Japanese version on frame 360, they both start to go to the game, right? Frame 360. They're both like, all right, we got this, fam. But for the US version, the global timer does not go up one. It has a frame where like the global timer just doesn't increase. Whereas the Japanese version, even though there's the lag frame, the Japanese version does it too, but it does it a frame later. But this will put them frames off from each other, period. So let's see when you gain control of the turtle. What frame does the turtle appear on? This is so ridiculous. Turtle appears on frame 413, and the global timer is now 150. The Japanese version, the turtle doesn't appear for 2 more frames. It takes 2 more frames for the turtle to appear. But the global timer's on 152. We have, at this point, the same amount of lag frames. So I'm going to change the global timer right now just to see if, let's see, do they end up being the same by the time we get to the hole? And does this change how early you can get in the hole? 897 with a global timer of 108. And this so you end up getting into, even though your turtle spawns later, because even on the same global timer, I started them on the same global timer, the extra lag frames in the US version off syncs the global timer. What is happening? There were two more frames of lag on the US version. There's 2 more frames of lag on the Japanese or on the US version, and you can get to the hole, inside the hole 2 frames earlier. I don't know how frame rules work, to be honest. This is the first time I've ever looked this deep into a game and like nerded out about it. So I know I know Mario operates under frame rules. I don't know how that works though. So if I put them on the same frame, just a case where the game checks every in frame for a certain condition or function. I don't know what the in frame is. I also don't know how I would test to find that out. I'd have to figure out how I test frame rules. It's a good question though, because I don't know anything about it. Well, now we know that syncing the global timers. So on the same frame, our global timers are technically synced. The problem is, well, one, we know for sure that the global timer does not change the amount of lag frames because we set the lag frame, or we set the global timer to be the same once you actually gain control of the turtle. And on the same frame, they are the same, but you enter the first hole 2 frames earlier on the Japanese version. 2 frames. Hmm. 2 frames earlier. Let's go back and let the global timer go back to what it was. We're going to power on both and let them run. Oh my gosh, the sounds. Sorry for the chaos. So now, where's my cursor? Okay. Japanese version gets to the hole 895. US version 896. So without editing the global timer, right now we're on the same global timer by the time we enter this hole, even though we're a frame off. When does the global timer start? Was it at start press? Shoot. Yeah, no, it started on power on, I think. But now we're on the same global timer from hole entrance. Is it because I poked things? Do I have to reset? Oh, interesting. And this time So this time we're at the same. What? So Japanese version, no matter what, gets there 1 frame sooner. But what's freaking me out right now on whole entrance now, our global timers are synced, which they weren't before. And this time, there's 1 frame of overworld lag. I wonder if the randomized number has anything to do with this, because the randomized numbers are different. I think we're just confirming that this is the best speedrun game. I think that's all that's happening right now. Okay, anyways. Japanese version gets in there 1 frame sooner. I am curious now if we get to that jump frame. Jump frame, right? One, two, three, four, five. All right, there's my jump frame. Japanese version. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, so you end up, we're jumping on the same frame. I did this on the same, so 1231, 1231, jumping on the same exact frame. The global timer on the Japanese version is 176 this time. And the US version is 172. The US version still, no matter what, has incurred 4 frames of lag to this point. 4 frames more. The Mouser sprites are loaded different. Now, it looks like there's a shuriken coming from that. Oh, from both of them. Look at that. They both threw shurikens. The foot soldier threw a shuriken. They're slightly off from each other. And I don't know. 238 randomized number. 148. So if I go forward and back, okay. 28. 11. The randomized numbers throw me off. I have so much to learn here. All right. So what's interesting too, I don't know how to check subpixel values. Like I don't know what RAM value subpixels are. I need to figure that out. Let's see if I can. TMNT NES subpixel RAM value? I don't know. I don't know how you find these things out. TMNT NES RAM values list. So this has some current ID. I know Sewer Bushido said they had seen subpixels, but I can't find them and I don't know. Huh. Guardian. Hey, thank you for punching the TV. Okay, focus, focus, focus. So, with that being said, we hop. And our start press is there, huh? So here's our start press frame. So for whatever reason, oh, I had changed these, right? I guess I didn't have to. Because it was... Sorry, where's that jump frame? It's 1231, I think. Yeah, 12. I think 1231. Okay, so if we're both on 1231, and they're both that same frame, we shouldn't have to change anything from there. So 1253, 1252, 1226, same jump frame there. We should put our start press both on 1299. I'm trying to figure out why. So the lag frame comes earlier on the Japanese version. One frame earlier. See this lag frame here on the US version is 1316. I don't even know if any of this matters, but it's just like a... Interesting. Look at those bugs. 1321. So that's the same frame during a start press. Interesting. So the Japanese caught up in lag frames. The bugs are in a different pattern, but I'm sure that's based on the global timer. Because the enemies are the same enemies, but slightly different. Johnny, welcome. So what I have going on here is the top window is the Japanese version. Bottom window is the US version. And I'm comparing them. 1362. I'm comparing the two with the same inputs, essentially. The goal here is to figure out which is faster. So it looks like maybe the US version is going to get lag there. Which would account for actually, Let's see. I'm going to find out. Yeah, TMNT science. That's exactly what's going on. TMNT science. Precisely. So look at 1362, which technically here. So the Japanese version incurred this lag frame at 1315, the US at 1316. But then the Japanese version does not get this lag frame at 1363 that the US version gets. So there's an extra frame of lag there. Yeah, we're doing science over here, Lemon. Welcome. We are breaking TMNT down to a level that I don't think it's ever been broken down. I could be wrong, but... So, 1381 and 1382. So if I have the same inputs, look at the US version is now 5 frames of lag ahead because it got these 2 lag frames for no particular reason. As far as I could tell, no particular reason. Oh, but then there's that frame of lag on 1387. So far, my hypothesis is proving to be true. I had speculated, the whole reason I started this TAS journey is I speculated while comparing the 2 versions that there was more lag incurred in movement. And so far, that is true. So if I have them move and jump on the same frames, you can see on the US version, no bonk. See on the bottom, the US version, the turtle doesn't bonk. It just kind of glides through nicely. And I have a feeling this has to do with subpixel values, but I don't know. I don't know how to watch those. I need to figure out the RAM watch values. But there, the Japanese version bonks. You see he hits his head and slows down.
Alcohol increases your ability to drive.
Which is definitely a subpixel issue. But why? And I can correct it. I think if I jump like a couple frames earlier, 1397 maybe. Almost. Maybe 1394. Almost. There's a little bit of lag there. There, no bonk. So I can avoid the bonk by jumping earlier. Which kind of makes sense. So let's see how much earlier though. 1400 exactly. 7 frames earlier. So not as early as I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be the same amount of frames as the extra lag, because right now it's 5 frames. There's 5 frames of lag, but it was 7 frames earlier for the jump. But I also wonder, see this lag frame you get here, that adds a little bit to it as well, which means that extra lag frame, it probably makes that, it's closer. It's like a 6 frame difference if you count that lag frame. When do I land though? Do I land earlier or later? Or is it the same? First frame of standing foot on the ground. It's 1450. So that puts me, I mean, it makes sense because of the lag that you get, but it puts me 6 frames ahead. Even though at this point there's only 4 frames of lag difference. Yeah, I just wonder if anybody knows, you know, because I don't have the capacity or knowledge to be able to watch random RAM values to figure out what they do. Now, the randomized number could be subpixel value. I don't know. I can see if the randomized number resets to 0, then it could be. I don't know. I'm learning though. I definitely know more than I did before I started. Yeah, happy Friday. I guess I could see if so right now 1400 was the jump frame there. 1393. So if I leave it at 1400 and get that bonk, I guess the question is, when I leave this jump, right now the randomized number on US is 90. So I'm going to have to reset it to 119, 119, 119, but let's set it to 90 and see if I bonk. 119. I do bonk. Okay, so it's not that. Oh, it reset to 119 on its own. Okay. I gotta pee real quick. I gotta make yellow. Keanu Reeves, be white black. All right. Hello, hello. Oh yeah, what were we doing? Oh yeah. 1393, I think, was the jump. So that means I jump. I press my jump frame when I'm in a ball here. I'm curious in the US version if I change it to that. Like if I change it to 1393 as well. I'm not as far to the right because of the lag. Interesting. So It went great. Thank you, Lemon. It was a little lemony. Little lemony schnickets. All right. Let's get this turtle. First frame of putting my nose on that pipe. All right. Let's get them both there. Wow, that's pretty close. I was one frame off. So they, at this point, Japanese version touches the nose to the pipe at 1519. 6 frames ahead of the US version at 1525. But there's only 4 frames of lag difference at this point. Now to align these fights, I'm 6 frames ahead right now, right? Let's put 1519 at the top. Yeah, this is chaos, disorder. 15. Why don't you go to 1519? What is wrong with you? You're not going by increments of 1? Go there. What are you doing? Yeah, it like skips it. Okay, fine. We'll go to 20 then. Why are you being a turd? No, it's okay. All right, we can't align them perfectly apparently. Fine. Okie dokie. Right now they're attacking on 1585, 1584, but that doesn't work. So for the US version, what are the frames? So first frame, it's attacking first frame of toe getting to that crack. So it's attacking there. All of this fight needs to be adjusted to that point. Super Bushido, welcome in. So if I adjust it to that point, that is what? That is how many frames? Could I just remove these frames? So that's where the B has to be. That's 6 frames. In theory, if that is correct, these fights should play out exactly the same. In theory. I believe they do. This is probably the best way to find out, is if there's no lag, we can find out when our foot touches the ground. So foot touches the ground at frame 1961. And that means this should 1961. I believe this should be 1967. Should be the frame of touching the ground. Yeah. So yeah, those fights play out exactly the same, and they were 6 frames apart. Lazy Couch, welcome in. This is my first time creating a TAS. So not only am I creating a TAS, I created the US TAS with the intention of comparing the US and Japanese versions of this game to find out which one is actually faster. I started to try to do this with playing, but then the act of playing wasn't super accurate and led me to like conclusions that weren't like really data driven. So I decided I was going to create TAS because it was going to be the best way to actually see which is faster, which has been a very interesting rabbit hole for sure. Right now, so far, the Japanese version has 4 less frames of lag at this point, but is 6 frames ahead, because the Japanese version allows you to get into the first hole 2 frames sooner. Oh, no worries. You don't have to apologize at all. How much time will it take? That's a good question. I think that this point is probably going to be the longest. Creating the US task took me a couple days. I think I started on Monday and finished it yesterday, but I worked on it a lot. It was probably realistically like 30 hours or so. Maybe more. Might have been like 40 hours of working on it to make that first US task. Now the comparison of the two, I think, is going to take a lot longer, because I want to be mindful of how things align. What's interesting here, look at this. That shouldn't matter. So I landed on the platform at the same time, but look at, we're at different places. So Japanese version lands 6 frames faster, but look at the turtle. Look at this line on the ground. Yeah, I think for this, it will be a week or more, I think, for this. I injured my thumb. Normally we do speedruns of this game. I injured my thumb. And since I injured my thumb, I'm doing this instead for now. Yeah, interesting that it's same inputs, right? I think we jump on the same frame and everything. Well, it should be 6 frames ahead. And it is. Yeah, jump at the same time. Japanese is on top. I think I'll add labels for the next stream. Monday when we jump back into this, I'll put labels. But this one here, the top one is Japanese, bottom is US. So yeah, when we land, the US version one lands further to the left for whatever reason. That's interesting. So here's my crouch frame. So it should be 79. 1979 should be my crouch frame over here. And it is. So yeah, remaining 6 frames ahead on Japanese version. We crouch in the same spot. We don't crouch in the same spot. Huh. Yeah, it's 1 frame different there. Interesting. Hey, thank you for opening the e-tank. Welcome in, Spices. So I'm curious. The exit, in theory, should be 6 frames ahead. Let's see the frame where Rocksteady walks. Rocksteady walks on 2039. So in theory, that should be 2033 on the US version. US version, he doesn't walk until 2043. That's more like it. That's math. 2043. Yes. Whoa. But that's, yeah, so, Interesting. So it's only 4 frames difference at that point. We were 6 frames ahead. But Japanese Bebop or Japanese Rocksteady only walks 4 frames sooner. Weird. Let's look at the exit. Let's look at the exit. So it does this. First frame of exit, the HUD goes away in the US version. I'm using BizHawk. It's an emulator. So inside BizHawk, there is a TAS Studio. All right, so frame 2100 and 2104. Yeah, the US version caught up by 2 frames. So now the US version is only 4 frames behind at this point. Yeah, so I'm using the TAS Studio built into BizHawk. All right, what about frame where turtle appears? Turtle appears on frame 2153. One, two, three, 4. Yeah, so it's still 2157, 4. So it's still 4 difference. What about when they start walking, though? Because time to paint and time to action are not the same thing, right? What's the first frame of walk? He did a little wiggle there, but I want to see him actually move to the right. Okay. Moves to the right on frame 2169. So in theory, 2173 would be first frame. Yeah, first frame of walk is still the same. I am going to have to adjust the up. Since I'm 4 frames ahead, right? I should have to adjust this 4 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe? Nope, not that way. Okay, so if I do that 1, 2, I had to change it 2 frames. So I can't walk up until 2187. Oh yeah, that makes sense. 2191. Yeah, math is mathing. There should be a special program for every game, or one for all NES, for example. Yeah, I think this program you can use for all retro stuff. A lot of retro stuff anyways. BizHawk, I think, is a multi-emulator, so you can use this for a lot of consoles. But again, this being my first time ever doing this, I don't know for sure, but... All right, right now we are 4... And I gotta start... Oh no. My brain thinks I have to work today. All right, so that means we go up. Why did we walk left there? That's funny. There's just like random left frame. Just a single random left frame. We can remove that. So we turn left on 2388 here. Yep. It's 2388. But here I get a turn on 2383. So it's 5. I can turn on 2383. Can I turn on 2387 then? Nope. So I can turn 5 frames sooner. So somehow I got a frame again. Oh yeah, that is dumb, Truden. I'm not one of them, but it's still dumb. So then the question is, what frame do I enter this hole? Let's get the frame of that where I'm aligned with everything. What frame is that? Just for all right, align with everything. That looks the same. Yes. 2387, 2383. So we're back to 4 frames. No, 25. I'm looking at the wrong numbers. 2450, 2454. Yes, 4 frames. Okay. So this enters the hole. First frame of hole enter is 2471. So in theory, should be 4 frames faster. And it is 2467. I'm trying to figure that out. So I don't know what the lag frames are caused by yet. I thought maybe they had to do with the global timer. I synced the global timers as a test because the global timers were off from each other, but now they're back on with each other. They've like resynced to each other. So they start at an offset global timer because the Japanese version can press start or has to press start a second later to get a whole 1 than the US version. And that like sets the global timer off, but then I think the lag frames are switching it too. I don't know what the lag frames are caused by though, because they seem to be random intervals in the overworld. But there were a ton of lag frames that occurred in the US version way back here. Which, let me look at those again real quick before we go too far. Now that I'm saying this, I want to look at these again. Here, 1185. There were more lag frames incurred on the US version, and I don't think I really looked at them that well. See this? See, there's more, just more lag there. So there's 1185. We're all lined up for 1185. I had to swing one earlier because of the weird offset with the inputs. If we both go to 1185, you can see here the enemies are pretty much the same. All right, if I go to 1190, enemies appear to be the same. Our global timers are off by 1, which makes sense. They should be off by 1. I was speculating potentially that the lag frames have something to do with this randomized number, which I don't know what the randomized number is. But like the US version gets an extra frame of lag. See, the lag frames come at a different time, first of all. Those technically cancel each other out. When I get this lag here on this frame, it's like, see how the HUD in the Japanese version, look at right here, the HUD disappears because of this lag frame that happened during this sword swing. The HUD disappeared. So it happens here too with the US version. Lag frame, HUD disappears. But the difference is it gets another lag frame here. See that? Like the US version on frame 1198 gets a lag frame. So the other thing that had me curious is that it could be this randomized number, or it could have something to do with subpixels. In the act of drawing the subpixel or not drawing the subpixel, but I don't know. I don't even know if that makes sense. Because then it gets another frame of lag right here. And by then, at 1203, it's 4 frames of lag. 4 more frames of lag in the US version. So I just don't know. 2179. Yeah, it could be. But it's interesting that they're inconsistent. And the Japanese version pretty consistently gets lag frames earlier than the US version. And I thought that the lag frames, excuse me, had to do with global timer, but I synced those and there were still more lag frames on the US version. This is very, very interesting. So I don't know if something happened during the translation so there's multiple things to factor in, right? Thank you for the follow. Thank you. The Japanese version uses the Konami logo in the title screen. It also has a completely different title screen. It says Gekikame Ninja Den as opposed to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And the US version has the Ultra logo instead of the Konami logo. There's also less text on the Japanese version before the game even starts. It doesn't have the Nintendo of America information, obviously, because it's Japanese. So there's less lines of text there, which I don't know how that might affect things later, or if it affects things later. I did notice in some comparison that the attract mode runs at different timing as well. When the attract mode starts, how long some of the frames are different between the two. And that's before anything's even happened. So I might do a RAM watch on the attract mode and see if like randomized runs or global timer runs or what that means for it. Because if you start both games at the same time, do nothing, they run at different times. Like slightly. And sometimes they'll move faster. Like the Japanese one will move a little bit faster, but then the US one catches up. It's really interesting. Anyways, we're on 2179. So yeah, we're able to turn right. Yeah. Which means the left turn. The left turn here occurs on 2388. So it should be on 2382. Maybe 80, wait, 88, 84. Maybe this is right. Let's find out. No, I ran into it. Yeah, 2384, 23. Yeah, that makes sense. 4 frames sooner. And we enter the hole. 4 frames sooner. So the first input of down on here is 2521. Okay, let's see. Japanese version 27, yeah, or 2467 enters the hole. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So still 4 seconds difference. All right. But then time to paint turtle. So yeah, still 4 frames. So I should be able to go down 4 frames more and get off at an optimal time. Boom. Let's try 3 frames just to see. No. Yeah, still consistently 4 frames. This, yeah, and 4 frames of lag, which adds up. Save both these. Where things are going to get tricky are cutscenes. That's for ding dang sure. So, if we go through that, our first B attack, there's been no new lag frames. Yeah, they're all red. Yep. It's interesting too. I don't know if this was intentional or what, or if this was a leftover thing. I speculate that they originally developed the game and all the turtles had red bandanas. And then they switched them later. The reason I think this is in the Shredder fight at the end of the game, no matter which turtle you fight Shredder as, the bandana's red. Like whoever you go in there with, it'll start with their color and then it switches to red. it could have just been an error. It could have been a nod. It could be so many things. We just don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I only noticed recently. And it's possible like Sura Bushido pointed it out or something. So if the first B attack is on 2619, then 6 frames earlier would be 26 or 4 frames earlier, right? 26145. So it'd go here. So in theory, here's my A. That should look the same as that. Yes. And our global timers have synced. The sprite memory changes have been more on the Japanese version. Huh. Okay. So that would put our first frame of right. Yeah. It's interesting too, the little things, like the way things are drawn. See the sprite variations between the enemies? Like the enemy below the fart smelling guy. One, the fart smelling guy is standing up higher. See how he's like standing taller? Turtles are on the same frame, but our global timer now is different. We were on the same global timer, but now the Japanese version is on 57 and the US version is on 59. 59 being slightly ahead in time means the fart dude, the golem, is standing up a little bit more. I'm super curious what this might end up meaning for. It might mean nothing, but the balloon pattern that we get or things like that. It might change nothing, but I'm curious. Curiouser and curiouser. Okay, anyways. So 2664, so this should be 2660. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that should sync them up to the first B, or the next B attack. So those should look the same. Well, they don't. They won't, actually. That makes sense that they wouldn't. So the first B is 8-2. So we want to do 7-8. Remove 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So here it's 7-8 and 7-8. Those should be the same frame. And they are. The enemies even painted the same. We're back. We're on the same global timer. 77, 77. So maybe my frames were off earlier. I don't know. Here we are. So now the A press. Might start making notes of the differences in values. It would be nice to get an idea of some kind of pattern first. Yeah, I could take notes. I guess I'm taking this whole VOD as a note. Oh, it'd be such a nightmare to have to go back and look at this though to find out. But yeah, you're right. You're right. That wouldn't be a bad idea. So this is at 4.6, should be 4.2. Just 2 frames later on there. So this frame and this frame should be pretty close to the same. And they are. No new lag frames. It's got me like I find myself analyzing each still frame like it's one of those I Spy books. Like I feel like I have Highlights magazine or something. I'm trying to spot the difference. It would be cool to at least get through the first stage today. All right, so then B. So the pause frame that I added here for some reason. Why did I add a pause frame? Is that necessary? I don't think so. We'll just fill them in. So the B press 2773. Was that 2769? So everything's 2 forward. So I'd remove that, right? But then add this. So in theory, these frames should be the same. Same lag frame and everything. Yeah, where's Waldo even? I have some cool, I have a Street Fighter and a Spider-Man, like, I Spy type book. Like a Spot the Difference book. So it should be 2 later. Then this, which would be 7.5 and 7.1. So yep, those add up. So this should be 2 later. The B press should be 2 later. 2901. Cool. Oh yeah, this is where things are going to change. Totally forgot. This is going to change things drastically. So in the Japanese version, you cannot get the chainsaw guy in this fight. It's always the frog. No matter what. And the frog takes 1 extra hit. So this is going to slow down the Japanese version. And I think the biggest thing will be post-fight jump. That's what we're going to have to nail to resync them. I think that'll be how I'll resync them. All right, so let's play through this frog fight. Okay, so that aligns with that for the B attack. So does that mean I don't want to mess with the inputs. Oh dear. What if we added frames? Because I need to add a whole nother group of frames that matches that. So what is that? 2943 calculator. So many turtles. Every day we turtled in. So let's see. 2943 minus 2897. 46 frames. Plus 2943. So in theory, 2989. So I need to add 46 frames. In theory. And then 29. 8-9 should kill the frog. Okay, so I need to sync them up to here. I'll rule the world. You can have it. The world is yours. Whose world is this? Okay, we're pretty close. Pretty close to being the same for this A input. It's like I'm like one frame ahead maybe in the Japanese version. So what if I do one less walk frame? Oh no, let's add a frame. Add one more. Might have been too much actually. Remove frame. I gotta see if we actually jump on the same frame. So from this button press, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 to leap. Right? So from this button press, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to leap. The question is, will we gondola on the same frame? Oh, that's right. I have a fire pattern. We can't even sync here. Oh my Jenga. We're going to have to sync inside or outside maybe. I totally forgot because the frog, we get this fire pattern. Oh, shenanigans. Well, I am still curious if we do this gondola on the same frame. So it technically looks like the US version is ahead at this point. Yeah, so we cannot match the movements here, and this has to be a completely different thing for this Japanese side. And there are no interesting. There are no interesting. To later. I think what I'm going to do is down here before I jump. We have to hit the ground. To remove 3, add 3. Hit the ground. Remove 4. Add 4. We have to scroll the screen. Remove 2. Add 2. I guess we're just going to remove this completely for now. So I'm curious how far we have to scroll the screen. Let's do it to this line. And then walk right some frames. May or may not be enough. So I think I'll walk back far enough to make the jump without bumping. Did I walk too far to the left? Maybe. Because I need to land on the edge. Yeah, I gotta go further to the right before I jump. Almost. Hey, welcome in, Ken. Thank you. It's going well so far. Can I wiggle over this? Oh, it didn't jump. Why no jump? Therefore, how come no jump? Okay, maybe just more. Maybe that's... I just need to go more to the right. No. That ain't it. Gotta walk more to the left. Can you imagine? It is close. I wonder, okay, if that's enough space though. Can I, in theory, start pressing right here? No. Not enough space. What if you jump right away? Oops. Just out of curiosity. Earliest jump frames. How's your Friday going, Ken? Okay, that's the earliest jump frame. Where does that put me? Did I start pressing right here? Yeah, that works. Yeah, we'll just roll with that. It might not be perfect. It's pretty stinking good, though. Okay. Could have 3 right frames of hesitation. That's wild. Oh, you missed though. Oh no, you missed the ladder. And that's the earliest. Unless. No, it's the earliest frame of jump. Or do more right frames in the air. Yep, there it is. That's so dumb. Oh, that's so dumb. But it should get us back to where we need to be. So what is this? Okay. Between these up frames, I didn't add. Well, maybe I did. Let's see. Can I look at it like this? Yeah, there's a lot of up frames there, huh? Can I add the same amount? Let's see. Is that a straight line across? Pretty close. So then the question is, how many frames are in between that and, oh dear lordy. Science, I'll tell you what. Lightning me with science. I gotta get going soon. I got adulting to do. Why is this jumping by 2s? Like, can you not? What the hell? All right, anyways. It's fine. Okay, where is that? No HUD. No HUD. Advance. Advance. I just want to match the inputs, right? So that's where we're not. Yeah, that's the last frame of input. Right there. So that means we need to enter frames. What is the hotkey for insert? Just insert, huh? Neat. So in theory, if the load times are the same, that should sync me to the door. It doesn't. Are the load times different? Or am I just one off? I am one off, I think. Yeah, let's insert one more frame. So if the Japanese version, let's see, we get on the ladder. Japanese version shows me turtle paint time. When does it show me the turtle? So 3507. The fourth frame of down press. Yeah, so we're synced on down press. So in theory now, this should get me to the door. On the same up press. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? On the fifth up press. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This should be the same. Hooray. So at this point in time, what is math, right? Can we do some math? Because of the bad boss fight, the bad boss pattern that they forced you to get in the Japanese version, the Japanese version is now 69 frames behind. About a second. A second where everyone wins. All right, I think I got adulting to do. All right, y'all, I'm going to save it here. We'll pick this up on Monday. If not sooner, pick this up on Monday. Yeah, nice, but not really so nice, but still nice, right? I'm going to try to leave my computer just like this so we're already set up. I do want to get a little like indicator for which is Japanese and US. At this point in time, the US version has incurred 3 more frames of lag. Excuse me. But yeah, I think this is really good progress. I was hoping to get through Rocksteady, but I think this is really good progress and a good like it's a good scientific way to do this, I think. Because at the end of the day, once we finish, we'll know exactly how many frames based on the shredder kill. We'll know the frame differences. It's going to take a while, but I think this will take less time overall. I think this will take less time than the initial tasks to begin with. But we'll see. It's interesting too. The global timer is 1 second off from each other at the same point in time, which makes sense. The global timer should be off because of the start press variance, but yeah. But I'm having a fun time. This is gonna be real fun. Thank y'all for hanging out with me today. The one thing you can't get back is your time, so thank you for spending your time with me. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to hang out here, and I greatly appreciate that. Whether you're hanging out on YouTube or Twitch, wherever you're at, I greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for whatever you're doing while you're here. I appreciate you, and I will see you Monday. If I don't see you sooner, I'll see you Monday. And we'll continue the TAS comparisons. And at the end of the day, at the end of this, we'll have a definitive answer, and then I'm going to make a video about it. I'm going to make a YouTube video about the outcome. So yeah. If you haven't checked out my YouTube, do it. Or don't. I'm not your real dad. Thank you, Trudin. You as well. And I'll see y'all next time.